How are you feeling today?
And I got just this idea in my heart, which is so resonating with me. Same like we support the gift of heart. I just decided that we'll be placing a link to your work in every podcast in the description, because why not?
Thank you. Thank you, brother.
And I will also
That
try
would
to
be
mention
lovely,
as often as possible about your work, because your work is so beautiful, so pure, so
Thank
magical. I'm glad that I was able to help you reconnect with many people so far. And as I have mentioned before, the outcome is just mind-blowing. And this is not some kind of a trick. All of those people, I never ever seen in my life such happy people after that experience with you. They were like just, oh my gosh, like it exceeded my expectations, way beyond of everything I was thinking about life. And I remember some of those experiences in those people were very challenging, but after it happened and when they integrated within them, the wisdom and the understanding came. And do you also help people integrate those experiences? I mean, you help me a lot because we stay in touch, but that integration process it could be probably even more important than the experience itself. Like, would you agree with that?
It is because if you don't have the integration, if you don't do your work after the experience with the medicine, you are only going to remember the experience that once you had with Bufo Alvarius, but someone is going to ask you, and what happened? What changed after that? But if you don't have the integration, you're not going to be able to use the tools that um, you encounter in this experience with Bufo Alvarius. You're not going to be able to use the tools, and those tools you can do it every day. You can use them every day until they feel natural within yourself. There's people that I helped a woman that she did Bufo many years ago, and she didn't have integration, and I I was talking with her like for 6 months, after the after I met her, and after 6 months she was able to see the results of Bufo. um, and there's people that with good integration, that's why I do I talk with the people before the process, before the Bufo. We do the medicine and then we talk again to have a closure. And then that week after the process, I ask them, how do you feel? How's your day? How have you felt any emotion that is being released in this moment or in these days? And I ask them because it's very important for them to be more aware of the way they feel and the way they think. If they are not aware, that experience is just going to stay there, like floating around, trying to ground and trying to be used by you. But if you don't use it, unfortunately, there's not going to be a real change in your life.
Yeah, so there is a lot of guidance needed for people who are thinking about getting into this experience, this universe of healing. As I have mentioned before, we have this session with the AI on Friday night, which was absolutely mind-blowing. And we're pushing it. How can we heal ourselves? Just like beyond the limits. And I got another, I think, challenging question for you. You are in Guayaquil right now, and that question came to my heart just recently when you were talking. I remember when I got there first time. The woman which I visited in Ecuador, she's a psychedelic psychologist. She was living in Manglarauto. Very beautiful soul. We've seen those hills we can call it ghetto. Those poor people, living. Like, maybe you can elaborate wider. What she told me, that even the police doesn't go over there because there is so dangerous, and the level of consciousness over there is so dark, so low. How can we help these people? Everyone who doesn't have faith, all those suicidal people. There's right now, like even in America, I heard that 40% or 60% of society is taking antidepressants. How can we change that? And I'm pretty sure that Bufo is a game changer here. But I've spoke with many people, and I told them about Bufo or Iboga, and they said it doesn't ring any bell. I never even heard about it. Do you think that the one needs this readiness for this change, or what is the key factor here?
Medicine is not always needed. Yes, it helps a lot. Like if you go to hike to a very beautiful mountain, but you don't have the shoes that you need for you to walk a long distance, you're not going to be able to make it in the time that you want. You may be able to make it in a longer period of time, but it helps to have the shoes that you need in order for you to walk a long time. Same with the not only the medicines but other tools and other therapies too. Yes, you can continue living your life the same way that you want to live without changing anything. But if you allow yourself to use tools, like in this case with Bufo Alvarius, if you allow yourself to use this tool, you are really going to perceive these changes in a shorter period of time, and you don't have to wait that long to see the results. So, if you really want to help other people and to change the world, you have to begin with yourself. Is the
Yeah.
is for me is the most important thing. Is always begin with yourself, and that happened to me when I first started. And I first did my retreat with ayahuasca. I was with depression. I wasn't feeling good at all. I was very depressed, and I went to a retreat, and I had ayahuasca, and then everything changed. And then I went to different retreats after that, and I came back because I wasn't here in Ecuador. I was in Uruguay. I came back to Ecuador, and one of the first things that my father told me when he saw me, he didn't even told me hi or welcome. When he was at the airport waiting for me, he saw me and he told me, "You are not Kevin. What happened to you?" And it was amazing for me to see that they didn't know that my family didn't know that I was going to retreats over there in Uruguay. I was doing it by myself to improve myself. And then when I came back, they noticed that there was something important that changed in me. And my father saw that. And even without telling him, look, I did a retreat or anything, he didn't have information. He just saw me and he noticed that there was something missing from that old Kevin, and there was something new. And after that, he went to do a retreat. He did ayahuasca, and it was life changing for him too. And then my mom also did it, and my brother also did it, and a couple of the members of my family did it too. but it started when I did the work in myself. When I changed myself, they knew they they can also have that happiness not only when they go to have a coffee, or they go to spend some time at the beach, or they go, no, you can have that every day. You can feel that way every day if you want, but you need to change a couple of things in yourself. And if you want to help other people, if you shine, it's very contagious for the people. uh, for example, if you feel very happy, or what you said about after Bufo, that you felt really really happy, and like you loved all the people in the world. If you feel that way, people are going to notice, and it's very contagious. If they see you smiling, there's a part inside of us that we all want to feel that way too. We don't want to feel angry, we don't want to feel sad, but if you see someone happy, you also want to be happy. So it's contagious. If you do that for yourself, it's going to affect your surrounding first, and that's your family, your friends, the people you work with, and it's also going to expand more and more and more.
Yeah, these are such beautiful words and very resonating. And I love your answer that in according to help those people, you got to help yourself deeply down to the core of essence. And then
Yeah, if
when
you
you
if
build
you
this readiness
if you
within,
help
you can start
yourself,
helping others.
if you help yourself, um, you are going to find more tools that you can use with other people if you first experience yourself. If you listen to yourself, for example, and you get to listen to yourself with more compassion, you're going to do the same outside. Even if someone yells at you or tells you something that you don't like, you're going to feel more compassion for that person because you do that with you too. So the more you do your own work, and you grow, and you develop a, a greater consciousness, then you are going to be able to help the people. But without tools, you're not going to be able to do it.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree with this. That I've seen it in my own journey when I started helping myself when I was around 40, in my 40s, 10 years ago. So many beautiful tools like Bufo, for example, psychedelics pop up, and then the others. Now there is this tool we spoke privately, which is called Iboga, and it's calling me very heavy. I mentioned in many podcasts that I already agree for this hardcore experience, and I start microdosing it. And you mentioned that you have access to this beautiful plant, that you met also a maestro. So not only Bufo called you, but also the Iboga, right? And would
Yeah.
you be so kind and share, because Iboga, I think it's like level up. I don't want to like maybe use some kind of a scale of comparison here between Bufo, because Bufo is a psychedelic, we can call it, so the mind can grasp the idea around it. And
Mhm.
Iboga is more like a dissociant, is dissociating us from the body and the mind. And now
Exactly. Yeah.
here in States, Iboga is going online. It's gonna be legal very soon in September in Texas. The ex-governor of Texas, Rick Perry, there was this amazing conversation at Joe Rogan. We can place the link in the description. Uh, I think that humanity got so sick, and we are at the verge of madness, that we need that tool, which is Iboga. And there was another guy, I don't remember his name. They decided to devote their whole life to make the Iboga legal and accessible for humanity. Iboga is able to cure all addictions. We can reset our hearts, our neural networks. We can uh, heal and cure from everything, if we are brave enough to go into this experience. I would love to hear your opinion of Iboga, because you mentioned that you microdose Iboga. on
Mhm.
daily basis. I think you told me that you never go into that full experience, right? Or do I remember it correctly?
I, I've had. Yeah, the first time I did it,
You had a
it
full.
was a full
Oh,
experience. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. You
It
with your
was it
maestro,
was
right?
many. Yeah, it was many
Have
hours.
you done it once or
Is totally different from
couple
other.
times?
Only once. I've only done it once. Yeah,
Many people
it's a
said that
beautiful
we need it only
experience.
once. That we don't need it more than once, right? Would you agree
Yeah,
with that?
it depends. It depends. Um, it depends on your intention. There's people that they do it because of an addiction, and an addiction is not only on a substance, uh, like for example a drug or alcohol. Addictions are also for different things, habits, or to even food, or
Yeah, I totally
for
agree with that.
example bulimia. Bulimia, I know I helped someone to release bulimia out of her life, and she was struggling with this for like 30 years, and it was an addiction too, an addiction to the feeling of releasing and to the feeling of oh, I feel lighter, I feel with not this weight, but the weight wasn't from the food that she was eating, the weight was from traumas and ideas from the past. But you can release this with with iboga. For some people it takes a couple of times. For some other people it may take 5 times or 6 times, and they do it in 2 months. They do several times, and then they feel free from that. And as you just said, iboga is like separation, is this dissociation from the reality and what the mind think your reality is. There's
Hmm.
people that get to have visions with iboga, but it's not always like that. You don't always have vision, but uh, you feel separated from the life that you think you have, and the thoughts that you identify with. So let's say with an addiction that a person has, first you have to separate yourself from that addiction. So if you separate from that, you're not going to identify with the alcohol or a drug or a substance. You're not going to identify with that because you see it outside of yourself. And for example, with Iboga, you can see that as an entity that is coming out of you, and you see, oh, this identity is the addiction. This
Mm,
identity is the
that's super
sadness
really interesting.
from lose. Yeah, this is the this entity is the sadness from uh, my father, when my father left when I was a kid. This
Mm,
entity is this from my past. So when you separate from that, you see that, oh, this is not who I am. This is something that I have with me, but when I'm separated from that, I feel good. I don't feel like I need to keep remembering this situation with sadness of or anger or disappointment. I just feel like, oh, this I had this, um, is not something that is natural within me. So I choose to stay like this. I choose to stay in this form without this entity that was part of my life, or sometimes years. You have some entities, but you separate from that in order for you to remember who you are. And that's what I consider that happens in iboga. With bufo, you condense all that within yourself and you feel the eternity there. But with iboga is, look, this is affecting you. You separate from that. This is what has been affecting you, and not only you. In my case, I remember that I I I connected with an emotion that wasn't mine, that was attached to sadness from my grandmother. She's not here on earth anymore, but she had the same pattern, the same um, sadness, the same melancholic way of seeing the world, and the same perspective about life. And I was able to be aware of that, like, oh, I've been carrying with this pattern that hasn't allowed me to truly be myself, just because I was loyal to this energy that I thought it was me. But when you separate from that, you get to do that work. Mhm.
Yeah, I really love the way you describe the differences between Bufo and Iboga. Um, and would you agree that both of these tools are superbly effective,
Yeah,
and there is
yeah.
nothing to worry about?
Is mhm.
There is no
Yeah,
need for fear
exactly.
with those people.
Yeah, and
And,
even
and what
fear
was
can.
the message to I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, even fear. I think this is the message that you were about to ask, for the people that want to do it, and they feel like uh, they are having some doubts. Um, Even if you have fear, the fear is there to show you something. There's a message behind that fear that is not allowing you to do, let's say, Bufo. But the same fear is not allowing you to take a decision to make your life greater, to take a different job, to ask for a raise, to and that fear is not going to allow you to have the family that you want. So the fear is not something that can control you. You can allow fear to use your energy and to drive you. But if you are aware of that fear, you are going to allow that fear to show you where what are your weaknesses. If it's with family, or oh, I have this insecurity inside myself that it doesn't allow me to be myself and to express the way that I want to express, just because of this fear that I have. So if you if even you have fear of doing bufo or any other medicines or other therapies too, and you do it, you are winning. You are not allowing that fear to control your life.
Yeah, I love your answer, because when I done Buffo first time, the ego is trying to fully corrupt me and told me, "You never ever gonna do this again, because this is too dangerous. This
Yeah.
is too extreme." And then when I was planning my trip to Ecuador, I found out about your work just like 2 weeks before, and I told myself, okay, if I will build my limitation here, that Buffo is my ultimate fear, I'm never gonna be free again, right? I decided to just try to interact with it again, and it was a very good decision. Uh, Kevin, I got like three more questions for you. Do you have a little bit more of time, like another 20 minutes or so?
Yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Awesome. Um, the very important question I would like to ask you is, which I think it's also the core information for our culture and society. How do we let go of control? Because the ego structure, which we identify with, is mostly based of the control, that we need to control everything. And when I've done a lot of sessions with mushrooms and psychedelics, and the first and the most important message was, stop controlling everything. The control is no needed. The control is blocking you with ultimate freedom.
So, like you just said, um, stop controlling everything. I resonate with that a lot, um, because it's not everything that you can control. The mind wants to control everything. So when you have the result, of what you want, then the mind feels relief, feels calm. But if you can control the things that you can control within yourself, then that feeling is going to come before the result. If you feel that way before the result, then you are using control in a positive way. Everything here on earth, I do believe that we live in on this earth we live in duality, so everything has a positive and everything has a negative. If you use too much control and you try to control everything, you are going to be in this balance. You're going to control is going to be excessive in your life, and your body is going to show it with anxiety, with lack of clarity, with many symptoms that the way that the body has its own ways to show you the excess of control. But if you control the small things, the little things that you can control in your life, then you are using the control in a positive way. You're using it to make your energy flow in the direction that you want, not making it flow in the direction that you don't want. For example, if the mind tells you you need to do this and that in order for you to have this result, in order for you to do this job in the perfect way, if you think about the bad things that could happen if you don't do this or if you don't do that, then you are allowing something negative that you don't want in your life because of too much control. But if you control the way that you feel, if you control your thoughts about what's happening, then the result is not going to be received with expectation because you are already calm, you are already happy before you have the result. So you have two ways there with the same energy, with the control energy, you have two ways. If you use it too much, you're going to create many expectations. You're going to try to make everything perfect without allowing life to show you, without allowing the universe to show the magic. But if you control the things that you can control, your emotions, your thoughts, the way you feel, your ideas, then you're going to do 50-50. 50%, you are going to do it by controlling yourself, not the things outside, but yourself. And then the other 50, you are going to allow the universe um, to bloom and to grow and to expand in your life in abundance in the way that the universe has to show you the love that the universe has for you. So it is a 50-50. I think you can understand part of it depends on you, on your perspective and the way that you feel, and the other part is just the universe. It's just all that magic. Oh, I want to have, like I said before, I want to have this trip to Costa Rica, but I don't know how I'm going to do it. Right now I don't have the money. Maybe I do have, but I don't want to be short on money. I don't. And then you just keep yourself present, and you feel good. You feel happy. And you say, "Oh, it's going to come to me in a certain way that maybe I don't know how it is, but I'm going to manifest that." So if you do that, you are controlling yourself with good thoughts, feeling great. The emotion that you're feeling in that moment is just happiness. You're not feeling worried that you're thinking, oh, maybe one day I'm going to go to Costa Rica. No, you do what you can do within yourself, and the other part is from the universe. And maybe you receive a gift from a friend or a family member, and they tell you, oh, I want to go to Costa Rica. Do you want to go too? So things can happen. Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. So the way I understand it is just we can redirect the illusion of control into the
Mhm.
creation faith, believe,
Exactly.
and also trust that
Yeah.
the universe will take care of it, the rest of it, right?
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, many people have talked about this. Many maestros from around the world, they have talked about this. You can do your part, but don't expect you to do everything if right now maybe you don't have all the tools to accomplish that. But the universe, the infinite universe, has all the tools that you need. You just need your attention. If your attention is on happiness, on peace, that you feel good right now in the present moment, if you feel that way, your attention is there on the inside, and the universe is going to help you. If your attention is on being worried, being angry because I don't have the money to go to Costa Rica, yeah, I feel bad, and there's other people traveling, I want to do the same. If you put your attention there, you're going to create boundaries and blockages, limitations in order for you to destroy what you want to create. So if you put your attention on creation, your energy is going to go that way.
Mm. I love that. It's a beautiful strategy, uh, and it's very intuitive to our culture because, especially women, I observed that worrying about everything, being very neurotic, and in our culture we have this strong belief that if we be worrying about it, it's a good way to take care of things. Right? It's completely opposite, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, here too. I can. It resonates with me a lot too, because there's people that they worry and they show love by worrying about other people, about their family. Oh, take care because this can happen to you. I'm very worried that you are not going to take a good decision. I'm very worried that so that person is going to give you not a positive energy in that moment because worry does not create something that is aligned to your to your dreams. It creates more things to be worried about. Mhm.
What do you think, Kevin? What is the most important question right now that humanity should ask itself?
Am I using my time properly? I really
Using my
think
time
that,
properly. It's a beautiful question.
yeah.
Mm. Very profound.
Uh, I really think that because of what I said before, the distractions that we have in our everyday life, we tend to use time. We tend to spend time and not use it because if you use it, is for your own benefit. If you spend it, it's just to be and to exist, to spend some time with family and friends to distract yourself from thinking about yourself and thinking about your future and thinking about the things that you really want for your life. So if you are not if you are not using the time for yourself, you are spending it on most of the time or on someone else or things too.
I love that the answer is also very profound, very contemplative. Would you be so kind, Kevin, and share with us your lifestyle, like your daily routine? Basically, how do you live on daily basis to be happy, to be healthy, to spend your time the most right way on this
And
planet,
so
being human?
movement is very important for me. I usually try to do yoga every day for at least 10 minutes in the morning. And sometimes I do it even 5 times a day. I just find, I don't know, I'm waiting for something. I'm waiting for my car to be clean. I'm at this shop waiting for something. I stretch, I do yoga, I breathe. Uh, but uh, every day I try to move in a conscious way by feeling my energy, whenever I try to do yoga, even in public places too, I close my eyes, I take a deep breath, and I start stretching, and I keep in contact with myself. I do every morning. I do it. I wake up. I don't touch my phone for maybe 30 minutes. I go directly to being here with my body, with myself. And well, sometimes if you ask me about the habits and what I do every day, sometimes um I eat breakfast, but most of the time I don't eat. I try to keep my body light. But when I feel like I that my body deserves and needs food, I eat good, like good, a good amount of food, but healthy food. I try to avoid sugars. I try to avoid bread. I try to avoid things that are processed, like snacks. I don't usually eat snacks. Well, fruits. I have a lot of fruits, and here in Ecuador, you can find a lot of
Mm,
different fruits, and they are
yeah,
very accessible for all people. It's amazing to have that, and also organic food is very available here too. So food is essential if you want to keep yourself with clarity. You need to avoid things like processed foods and sugars and dairies and um, what
even
else?
eggs, you think?
No, eggs is an excellent protein. Yeah, everything that is natural, that it hasn't been processed too many times, like even uh, flour or wheat flour. And there's parts of the world, like for example in Italy, they take care of their crops, and even if it's flour, it's not something that has chemicals. It's totally organic. And for example, if I eat a bread in Italy or in Spain, it's not going to affect me as eating that bread here in Ecuador. That it is very processed. But in other things, you can see the same thing. Like when there's a lot of or beer too. If you go to Germany, you have a good beer in Europe, you feel good. You don't feel like taking a beer here that it has a very long process, and
Bloating,
it
yeah.
has yeah, a lot of chemicals. So I try to keep myself natural. I drink a lot of water. I move. Right now, I'm not meditating intentionally, but I do contemplate, not to keep my mind um, in blank, like in silence, but to listen to myself. Is I truly
I
believe
love
that
that.
meditation is to listen to yourself, is to know yourself better, not to be quiet. Because if you want to be quiet, uh, you can distract yourself with other things. But if you meditate, is to be in contact with yourself, to listen to yourself. So yeah, that. And I every day I talk with people, a lot of people. Is one of my favorite part of my job, is to talk with people. And
Hmm.
you know that we have been in contact, I don't know for how long, more than a year
A
is,
couple of
I'm
years, yeah.
sure.
Yeah, more than
Yeah, so is part of what I love, talking with people, how they feel, how the process is developing after the medicine. Yeah, most of my days I try to keep in contact with the people. Mhm. Yeah.
yeah, that's a beautiful way of living. At the end, I would like to ask you: do you remember what was the core message from Iboga, and also how do you see the future of shamanism slash human relation with those saint plants, powerful medicines?
So I do remember that with Iboga, and there was a part of me that wanted to die.
That's interesting.
Thoughts. I had these thoughts that I didn't want to live anymore. But it wasn't like I wanted to take my life. It's just that I wanted to be myself again, and I wanted that past to die because it wasn't serving my body and my mind anymore. Instead of serving me as a tool, it was affecting me with fears, with insecurities, with with doubts about myself. So instead of making me feel better and stronger, it was the opposite. It was doing the opposite. So
Do you think it was a test for your endurance, something like this,
yeah,
or how do
yeah,
you
you
interpret
you
that?
don't feel you feel well. I felt in that moment crazy, like I was getting crazy, but it was only because that wasn't me. That what was being released from me. I felt crazy because imagine that energy, let's say, I wasn't feeling worthy of myself in that moment. So that energy was with me for years, for many, many years. I don't know, maybe 15 years. So imagine that energy has been with you for 15 years, for a very long time, and you separate from that. A part of you is going to go like, wow, what is happening? Because you have been used to that
Yeah, I can
energy
imagine
for
that.
15 years. Yeah, and it's difficult for the mind to accept. It's difficult for the mind to imagine a different life without that energy, without that entity that has been with you for many many years. So that part, I remember that I felt like I was getting crazy, because part of me wasn't attached to that past anymore, and I needed to adapt to this present moment, the truth that I was being aware of in my process and all that light. I needed to be aware of that and allow that to be in myself, without the fears and the other things that I was releasing in that moment. So that was challenging. That was very challenging. And the other question that you asked about the medicines and these psychoactive
Future of
medicines,
shamanism.
the
Yeah, the
future of
relationship of humans
shamanism.
and
Yeah, I believe that there's a lot of people awakening to heal the world. And before, when we used to live in communities, in communion with other people, not in these big cities and uh, with all these big businesses, and when everything was more natural, and there was a lot of healers, a lot of healers. Each community had a healer before, and then came uh, the doctors, and then came the titles, the certificates that only allow these people with this new system to help other people to cure, to heal only the body, but not the mind, not the emotions, not the integrity of the person. And I I know that before it was like that. We used to have a lot of healers, and that consciousness is awakening again because we need it. And I don't know if you know, the one of the meanings of shaman is the one who heal himself or herself. So shaman is us, the ones that allow the healing energy to take place in our lives. So there are going to be more shamans, and there are going to be more
yeah, I
healers.
see that on daily
There,
basis.
yeah, yeah. You see, is growing, and the only thing that I tell people is that try to be aware of scammers, because I know there's people that they do it with a lot of love, and there's other people that they are just there because they see this path as a business. that is not something bad, but is better to keep yourself focused on what really matters. That is not just the 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 business and the money that you receive from this, but also how you balance the world by helping another person being the best version of himself or herself. That is going to give you a greater feeling. And I know that there's people that they want to do it. They want to do the medicines. They want to do the therapies, and because they are not feeling well, and the first person that comes into their path, and they do it, and they don't have a good experience, and they don't want to do it again. But there's a lot of good people here on earth that they have good hearts. So for the people that haven't had this good experience with healers, I encourage each of you to open your heart and open your mind, and to find another person, to find, or even a community that serves the medicine. But there are very good people, beautiful people here on earth, and open to help you. So just be open.
Yeah, let's be open-minded and let's have our hearts open. I mentioned that I can
Exactly.
read some of the questions from the AI. There was
Mhm.
so many of them, but I think that maybe choosing one question is: can we humans affect the spirit of Bufo of 5-MeO-DMT? Like, do you think this is a very deep question, maybe a little bit philosophical? By interaction with this medicine, this beautiful technology, do you think that that its spirits is changing itself? That if this is some kind of a different civilization trying to connect with us, uh, what should be the message in our hearts, the deepest message we can send to this civilization or
I
to the
do
spirit
believe
of this
is
molecule?
I do believe there's an evolution happening for both of us. Is for humanity and is for the medicine too, because we there's nothing that grows just in one way. It's like trees, they grow outside and they also grow the roots inside to the earth. Everything is like that. So as the medicine, as Bufo Alvarius help us grow the spirit of it. I don't know. I don't consider Bufo to be a spirit, but it's a good way to say it so people can understand that there's a sacred and beautiful and big infinite energy there. It's a good way to put it like that. Beyond that, beyond the spirit of it, there's a growth that we sustain as humans. So as we do it, as we grow, also the medicine expands and finds other ways to connect with people, connect with the mentality that the humans have now. That it is very different from the mentality that we used to have hundred of years ago. So is this process, this adaptation is happening, the evolution is happening for both of us, I do believe.
Okay, so Kevin, the last question. When I woke up today, this morning, I've seen this amazing short movie on YouTube when Elon Musk was saying that when he was 11, he read Nietzsche, all those big, heavy books, and he got so depressed as a kid. And then he wrote this amazing book. He read this amazing book, Hitchhiker's Guidance to the Galaxy, and there was a question 42. And it really touched me. It was like super contemplating. He said it was a very complex message, but in general, to put it shortly, he said that he can assume that the Earth is a one huge quantum computer trying to communicate, recognize itself as a god or something like this, and is trying to compute the questions, the proper questions in those old books, he got so depressed because the questions were very archaic and very depressive. My question is, last question to you today, is how can we create the proper questions? How can we create the questions which may give us a hope to continue this beautiful journey, being human, not be suicidal? Like you mentioned, Iboga show you that you wanna kill yourself, it's part of yourself, or stop your existence. Do you have, did ever Bufo or some other medicines showed you how can we create those beautiful questions which we never ever thought about before?
Yeah, I I believe that for all the questions we have the answers inside, and with the appropriate tools we can connect with those answers that are inside. So each question that we do to ourselves or to the world are creating a path to something new, to something greater. But we have to ask. If we don't ask because of of doubts that we can have sometimes, if we keep those questions for ourselves, we are not going to find the answers. But it is for me related directly with the way we feel about ourselves. Because if you think you don't have good questions, is because there's a part of you that feels insecure, or of asking God, asking the universe, or even yourself about a specific topic. But if you feel good with yourself, whatever it is that you express, you know that you're going to receive the answer that you need, because you trust yourself, because you feel good about yourself. So we have a lot of questions about the world and the universe, but we first need to begin with ourselves. Getting to know ourselves better is going to drive us to God. And like what you just said about this book, the Quran, eh, it has its ways to express to some people, just like the Bible. It has its own ways to express to some kind of people. And then you're going to find other books, sacred books too, that they have exactly the same thing but expressed in a different way. So at the end, the same question that was asked by God, uh, from many different people, God answered in many different ways to connect with the person that trusts the Bible, and the one that trusts the Quran, and the one that trusts, different organizations and religions. But the answer, the message behind that answer is always going to be the same. It's all about love. It's all about consciousness. And when you get to realize that, then you get to also realize that there's no wrong question that you can ask to yourself or to the universe.
Mm. I love you. The answer. And by God, do you understand like a higher power, the source? Do you think that we are
It,
gods? We create this reality,
yeah, yeah.
or there is some kind of a separation within us for the purpose, for the
There,
game of love, game of life, for the love of the
yeah,
game?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a separation, uh, and there's the oneness at the same time, but we have the free will, so it depends on us if we choose to be separated from it, from that you can call it God, you can call it the universe. Is at the end is exactly the same. I used to have ideas about calling it God, because you separate yourself from God. But at the end, God is you. So if you name it as God, you're naming yourself. You are being aware of the power that you have to create your life, the life that you truly want. Mhm.
Yeah, and this is probably the most lovely and magical conclusion of this whole conversation. Thank you so much, Kevin, for this amazing, very deep conversation. And I truly, really highly recommend Kevin's work. You will be in the best hands if you're thinking about getting into those deep psychedelic Bufo experiences. We'll place all the links in the description. Is there anything else, Kevin, you would like to add at the end, your message to the humanity?
Well, one thing is that if there's someone here listening to the podcast, if there's any question, any doubts about not only the process with Bufo Alvarius or Cambo or ayahuasca, there's other things that you may have some doubts that and maybe I have the clarity and the light that you need in order for you to solve these questions that you may have, these doubts. If there's anyone here that may want to have some clarity, I'm here. I can help you with that. And my message to the world is right now to keep it simple, to be more present just by being with yourself, more in contact with yourself, and try not to distract you from what's really happening. If you feel sad, if you feel angry, if you feel whatever you feel, allow yourself to feel because time is going to pass, and the more time is passing, you're going to realize that you are the one that can give you what you need in the present moment. No one and nothing is going to give you the happiness that you want later. It's about this. So try to keep it simple.
Yeah, it's a very beautiful message, the most beautiful message out there. Thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
If you'd
Thank
like
you,
to
Robert.
connect with Kevin, you can search for the contact information in the description. I have this deep feeling that we haven't touched so many topics. Maybe one day, sometime from now, you'll be open to have another
Yeah, yeah.
conversation because
Yeah, sure.
it's not that
I would
easy to
love it.
wrap it up in 2 hours podcast. I would love to keep, we can communicate from time to time. Once again, we highly recommend Magical Ecuador. Such a beautiful country, and I highly encourage everyone to interact with us. You can leave the comments, and also if you have some recommendations who we should record the podcast with, I'm very open for that. And let's stay open-minded and let's have this beautiful courage within us. My name is Robert Canins, and this was another Beyond the Courage podcast. And our guest today was amazing shaman, one of the most courageous person I ever met in my life, Kevin, from beautiful
Thank you.
Guayaquil, Ecuador. Thank you so much, Kevin.
Thank you. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.